The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello guys, welcome to the Weekend Podcast stroke webinar. Can you all hear me? You're all on mute at the moment. I'm going to explain for podcast listeners, this is a bit different. We're doing this in Technicolor, live. If you want to see Pete and Steve in this sort of semi-amateur massage parlor colour, look at Steve's colouring. It's like an amateur massage parlour.
Well, that's what I do during the week, so you know.
Very nice. By the way, it's the Weekend Podcast. It's as normal, the Weekend Podcast. But halfway through, guys, for the members of the club, halfway through, what we're going to do is this. You can chat and put questions in, but halfway through, we'll stop the podcast. The audio people, you can carry on with your lives. But members, we can have a chat, submit questions, do anything you want, and we'll talk about the Share Investment Club, Share Pickers Investment Club. And the reason why I set it up is because, as you know, I'm very passionate about investing, and I genuinely believe you'll become a better investor within 12 months. If you surround yourself with people with the same passion, same goal, you can do it. And even down to basics, you know, getting the basics right. Because when I started, I didn't have any guide or guidance at all. I made lots of mistakes. Even by avoiding the mistakes, you can get better. And if you want to join the club, of course, just go to sharepickers.com. But let's start off with the thing. Paddy, I don't know where Paddy is. I think he's been arrested for indecent exposure, hasn't he, or something? Any idea where he's going? Oh, you can't say that. He said, don't say it. Put this way, he's not in Essex. I want to say that. Paddy's not here. So, he's not
You're great at keeping secrets there, Pete.
I know. But I'm trying to pin this thing on. If you want to, there's a chat function. We'll get into this. We got... wow, there's quite a few people participating here. We'll get into this in a bit. But, so we'll start off the Weekend Podcast. First and foremost, I just want to talk about this weekend, okay? And by the way, this, if you can't join this as a member, it will be on the website, only for members only later. And like I said, we'll start off as normal Weekend Podcast, where they get into other stuff a bit later, and you can ask questions. So first and foremost, coming up on the Weekend Podcast, 2 members of the Weekend Podcast have now been vaccinated. The lifting the lockdown, the mortgage killer we missed out on, how FOLP will create a big sell-off in crypto, company news, TV and film recommendation, guys, joining that. So vaccinations, this week, let me just pin this to the top because my camera's going there. This week, right, I got vaccinated. And it was just basically a chance meeting. We just went along there and got done because my son is a sort of got lung condition, sort of carer. But we went down there, right? And I got to say, I felt rough for days. I don't think coronavirus would be as bad. Honestly, it was rough for days. It was. Honestly, the missus was vomiting. She won't, like me telling that. But she's probably thinking, why are you telling that for? But she was sick, and it was what I'm feeling. We had the AstraZeneca one, and. It's like when you get a taxi. You get a taxi, there's 3 questions you ask a taxi, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what they are? Well,
are you busy? Been busy?
Yeah, busy drive.
What time do you finish?
What time do you finish? Yeah. And what time do you start? That kind of thing, But you always ask, what vaccine is it then? He said, yeah, everyone asks that. It's the AstraZeneca one. And so, but at the end, they had spare vaccine dosages, right? So they were outside asking people if they want to come in. I think... But the thing is, isn't it odd where we are in life right now when someone outside on the street, a stranger asking to inject you is a good sign? And you think, it's a positive. And normally if that was happening, and it wasn't a coronavirus around, you're thinking, I do want some stranger shoving a needle in my arm. Oh yeah, come on, I'll come with you, yeah. So it's very odd. But we had that and to get vaccinated. But I genuinely thought, probably a lot of older people, elderly, 80 plus, would have been, I don't know what the stats are, but would they have been taken down by the jab, just feeling rough from the jab? Because I was feeling quite rough, and I'm a sexy guy, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's debatable. The AstraZeneca is obviously a more traditional kind of style of vaccine, isn't it? So you're actually injecting the virus into you. So you are going to have
it wasn't nice, sir. It wasn't. It didn't very nice at all. So listen,
vomiting. I haven't heard of that.
Say again.
I haven't heard of vomiting as a side effect, but
it was.
At you.
I think Megan's very competitive, right? I was feeling a bit ill,
right,
and I think she wanted to feel more ill than I was. So,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, I need to disable. How do I do this? Disable the waiting room. Everyone come in. Yeah, everyone come in. So, all in, everyone. Was it nice? Just nod your heads. Was it nice in the waiting room? Did Steve put the heating on for you? Because thumbs up. Because I told Steve to look after the waiting room, give it a clean, make sure it's fresh and smelling nicely. But yeah, but it's almost not.
Is he doing the shoe shining?
Yeah, it's the shoe shining. That's
later on. Yeah.
Do you know what I saw on Twitter there? A cracking thing. Let me share my screen here if I can find this tweet, and I'll share my screen. Okay, this is for obviously not the podcast, but for people. Let's go to that. Look at that, Parab right on Twitter. It's wow. That's great. First ever 100 bagger. He did 100 bagger on Argo blockchain. He basically paid off his mortgage. He said, and I said, it's lovely to go that. And fair play, he said, your videos on Arb, I'm going to give myself credit here, your videos on Arb certainly helped Justin. So it was very nice there. But that's annoying. We missed out on that mortgage killer, And
you recommended it and we missed out.
I recommended it 7.25 pence. I banged on about Bitcoin. I kept going on about it, saying, listen, if you actually look into it, it pretty much is an asset. And it's going to get... it's going to get bigger and bigger. And this is one of the lessons you learn. If you've done a lot of research, you've done like 3, 4, 5 videos on something, and you're almost convinced, and you're the head of the pack, or your friends, and you're researching a company, it's like the Zulu principle. You can become an expert in something in a very short space of time if you deep dive into it.
Yeah.
And that was the same with Bitcoin and ARM. And then patience. You should never sell on impatience and just waiting, because that's what happened with Argo blockchain. We just got out of it. Argo blockchain now is over $1 billion. The market cap is over $1 billion. You could say, what's the justification for that? Probably fundamentally, there isn't. It doesn't matter. You can do all the valuations you want, okay? But when you get a hot trend, and that's why it's always good to focus on hot trends, you can throw valuations out the window because the momentum kicks in, FOMO kicks in. It's like right now, Bitcoin is hitting $56,000. Right now, it's looking like it's going higher. And I did say on Twitter, what can stop this? And someone said, reality? Well, yeah, it takes a while though, because when everyone's piling in, what is reality? It's perceived reality. It's not actually reality, is it? It's what everyone thinks is reality. So that's the worrying thing. Now, I said, this is why I'm just my notes up here, because I wrote a little acronym down. I think FOLP will bring it down. And that is basically, do you know what that is? FOLP, anyone, do you know what that is?
For the love of Peter.
For the love of Peter will bring it down, yes, no. It's basically fear of losing profit.
Yeah.
That will kick in because people say, always a good strategy, generally, if you double your money in a stock, you sell half the stock, okay? That way, you're banked and you're playing what's called the house's money. That's what they say. It isn't the house's money. It's your money. So let's be honest. Let's say you're a grand in something, £1,000, and it doubled. £2,000, you sell half the stock, you still got £1,000 in the stock. Now, if you've done that with Argo blockchain mining, you'd be laughing. But that £1,000 that carries on, it's still your money. It's not the house's money, it's your money. So when you see that profit going up and up and up, and the profit getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you get more worried about losing that profit, okay? Because you're looking at your portfolio value, thinking, wow, that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it is
the obvious thing to do there is put a stop loss in, so at least then it can still continue to rise. And then
look at Steve. Yes, yeah, it could be. But Steve, if you look at the volatility of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
It's been very volatile, And so if you have sometimes the patience just to forget and treat it like a grand rather than what it's become, which is like, I think what's that become? 4,000%. But I think at the time now, a lot of people are locked into Bitcoin that have got a decent amount of profit in it. Yeah. And it gets to the stage where because they've been holding for quite a while, their holdings are generally bigger than the guys who just joined. Who joined because of the fear of missing out. So the guys who joined with the fear of missing out don't have as much weight in Bitcoin as the guys with the fear of losing profit. So when the guys with the fear of losing profit start selling, they'll start tumbling, selling begets selling, and they'll start to tumble.
But that's messages on the message board, by the way.
Yeah, well,
you get onto that. Yeah, read out. Yeah, let's go for messages as well. Go on.
But that fear of losing profit, that will have happened all the way up because people have sold at like 50p and £1 because they thought, "Blind, this is amazing." 10 bags from when they bought in at 10p and whatever, and now looking at it and going, "Oh, look at all the profit I've of the even increase in profit I would have got if I'd just held on longer. So, I mean, I bet I'm gutted because I sold at a loss, believe it or not.
Yes, that's you know, that is a cracking claim to fame. That the best performing stock pretty much the last it's got to be 5 years. I say it's now pretty outdone. I don't know if it has. Someone can probably tell them this on chat. I just open chat up, by the way. You can chat. I'll read them out. So morning all. That's Jonathan and Rob, Hassan. Do your Bitcoin ever? Yeah, Bitcoin is overheating. Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. The fear of losing profit will make it, overheat, I think. And of course, you've got Tesla, the bubble in the bubble. Tesla now got 1.5 billion of Bitcoin. So when that starts dropping, Tesla value starts dropping. People start selling Tesla. Like I said last week, I think we were just about to see the first ever sell-off started by crypto. Previously, generally it's the other way around. The markets dipped, like Dash for Cash back in March. The markets dipped, cryptos followed, which is very odd because people said, if you want to diversify, get into crypto. But crypto followed everyone else. Nothing was safe in the Dash for Cash, apart from cash, of course. But KR1, nice one, Pete. I saw Argo at a loss as well. There we are. Jonathan's with you. Excellent.
Nice. Thanks, Jonathan.
But that's an excellent claim to fame where you can sell the best performing stock ever at a loss.
To be fair, that's normally me that kind of sells at a loss, or I sell, then it goes to the moon, or...
Yeah, but like I said the other week, like I put that money into like Gfinity, I think, and I've recovered that loss. So, it's sitting pretty, and that's all pretty decent. But it's just the way that has gone stratospheric that's, slightly annoying. But also, even when we were talking about this 3-4 weeks ago and it was £1, well, we could have made... money on. We could have bought in then, couldn't we, and still made money? So, it's been a ridiculous rise, and people are still buying it. So,
yeah.
Where can it go? I don't know.
Just check. Is there anyone in the waiting room? Stephen, you're in charge of the waiting room. Have a look through there. Is anyone in there?
I can't actually see the waiting room. I'm not sure.
I just got a message
from 4 different
saying,
screens here, so I'm trying to work out what's what.
I had 70 people in the waiting room.
Celebs have started buying it, so that's probably a bad sign. I mean, that's kind of tantamount to a shoeshine boy, isn't it? Yeah. So
exactly. In this day and age, it is. But I think the top was, in fact, my father would have been almost early adopter. He called me, like I said, 3 weeks ago now, probably 4 weeks ago. Said, Justin, should I buy any Bitcoin? That my father's buying Bitcoin. Like, wow. Literally, he can't get into emails. I don't know how he's going to buy Bitcoin if he can't open his emails. If he can't do FaceTime. He's like, FaceTime. When you FaceTime with your parents sometimes, and literally all you can see is their eye. Dad, move the phone across. What? Move the phone across. Okay, you move the phone across. He's looking at the window. No, other way. Other way. So,
apparently there are people waiting in the meeting room, so you need to let them in.
Right, where's the meeting room? In the meeting, right.
Waiting room, not the meeting, sorry.
Oh, Steve, so you confused me. Yeah.
This is going well.
I can't even see them. Admit all. Sorry, right. There we are. Sorry. Are they all in?
Leave that open so people can just join openly now?
Yeah, I thought I did that. But obviously not. There we are. Are you all in? Yeah, welcome. Yeah, I think they are. That's it. There you go.
Yeah. You can disable the waiting room and then everyone just joins.
I tried to disable it.
It's all work in progress, this, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, this is a little podcast. Now, what I'm intending to do with the Share Investors Club, by the way, is have a proper meeting once a week where we discuss everything, and that's from stocks to the website, the development of it, user friendliness of it, everything. So that's what I want to do on the weekdays. This is basically the weekend podcast, but we're going to cut the podcast off in a bit, and we'll go into a more sort of Share Investors question thing related. By the way, one of the guys who Tom, it was, cashed in some ARB, and I remember recently he said he bought Argo blockchain because he saw my video. He cashed in this week, and he said I cashed in, and that's what I'm saying now. And everyone got different amounts of money, but he said it's not a lot, I know, but it's become a lot, It started off with, I don't know what he put in. Did he put in like 400 quid or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
But it's become like something, it's become several £1,000s. So it's become, and that's what I'm saying, the fear of losing profit becomes very real. And that's when people start selling, start taking profit. They think, I don't care now, I put a bit in, but it's become really real. So that's what happens.
He's here, he's in the chat. He's just
Tom there. Yeah, Tom's there, is he? Hi, Tom.
The question, at 1 trillion market cap, it can 10 back from here. Yeah, well, that's true.
No, but do you know what? Size is everything, though. And also, like I said, Bitcoin now has just gone past 50,000. You know, it's going to get a lot harder to get 100,000 because, of course, the market cap goes up. It's very easier for, you know, smaller companies to move. That's one of the filters. That's why when we start this now and I do my strategy, my 9 reasons, I'll focus on why small caps are the place to be if you want to earn decent money, you know, because they move very quickly. It's a lot easier for Bitcoin to go from $500 for 1,000 than it is to go from 50,000 to 100,000, you know, and it starts slowing down. And that's, you know, same percentage game, but it's a lot easier. Like I said, Argo blockchain is valued at over £1 billion now. Is that going to double again? No, the fast, easy money is at the start, always. So that's one of the things. If the share price is spiked, stay away. It'll come back. And in fact, we'll be talking about the new stock in a bit after I say goodbye to the podcast listeners, because only members obviously get the new stock. And don't worry, there's plenty of time there. And I'll point out why there's plenty of time if you watched it. Cool. By the way, guys, but we always, as the weekend podcast, suggest this because whenever I'm on the treadmill in the morning or do something, I always watch TV. I'm always looking for good things to watch on TV. And I think recommendation is the best way of watching TV, you know. And so if you've got any recommendations, guys, whack in the chat there of something you like. I like a bit of a chat.
Actually, speaking of that, did any of you take on my recommendation of Devils? It's kind of banking.
Yes, I started watching last night, but then Megan had her food and wanted to go to bed. So I said, it's okay. It started off very good. Yes, it's called Devils. It's on Sky, and it's about stocks and shares banking, corporate banking, isn't it? And this comes from London. So yeah, it's very much in that area. I want to expand. I want to get rid of the chat. I want to expand the chat, and I want to get rid of the meetings. Okay. Right. Okay. Close that. Chat. There we are.
Tom says he's still holding Argo, so that's good. That's good.
He's still holding Argo, Tom. Yeah, and Billions is a good series. Billions is very good, and it's going back on. I like sort of real life stuff, but this week I've been watching. We've got the TV in a bit. Let's do some news. Did you see the Brandshield stuff? Did you see news from Brandshield?
Yes.
Do you think anything of it?
It was a very positive update, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the growth was up, but they talked about they've employed this Valley, this VCS technology brand company. You know, it's a PR company for the US, and I looked into them, and it seems to me that Brandshield have got aspirations on the US market. You know, because the clients over there. I'm not saying they're afloat there or anything, you know, because it takes a bit of time. But VSC, if you look into it, it's a very slick PR company. They've worked with 450 technology brands. They've earned 100 award wins for its campaigns. They've created $48 billion of value. They've represented 3 IPOs, 7 unicorns, 46 startups that have exited. That means good. In addition to 375 brands, including SoftBank, Sony, and what else? Mammoth Diagnostics. So, yeah, very impressive track record this guy's got. And I think Brandshield do have ambitions on the US market, and it's not a bad place to be because and do you see this? In fact, let's get the chart up. This is what we can do on there. I'm going to show you the chart for you. Let's get my notes here. Let's just get that out of the way. Share this, and I'll show you the bounce in the chart. That's my notes there. Get out of the way. Remove this. Right, chart. Sorry, my computer. This is another thing I'll be covering in the thing. Is sort of charting. Well, it's essential, I think. Charting really is. I mean, I'm not talking about being a technical analyst. I'm talking about being a tech mentalist. That's combining.
Is that your default view? Is it escape punch chart?
Yeah.
It's just what's that doing there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's escape punch.
How do I move this thing? Yeah. I don't know if you know that. I do own some shares in Escape, and yes, I mentioned them a couple of times. Yeah. This is Brandshield, obviously on the IPO recently. I did do the video. I said I sent my newsletter. Just jumped in. You see the buy volume here. The price went up from 27 to 32. And I said in the video, calm down, because all stocks can get IPOs are fraught with people who want to get out, who want to exit, want to sell. So that always happens. So if you see a new stock, I'm talking about on the members area there, on the website, which you'll see stock ideas. Do research, take time, because these are not companies that are pop and drop companies. I believe these companies are starting to generate real growth potential over years, not just weeks, But so it popped, and I said it may come back to the mid-20s. It may come back to there, the support level there. And this line has been there for a while. Like I said, it has, but it did pop up a little bit. This is looking good now. It's called the MACD. It's converging way under the zero. When the red basically crosses, the blue crosses the red here, that shows a change in momentum. RSI, which is a momentum indicator, is ticking up as well. That's also good. I always look for, and like I said, last time the chart, I didn't give it a thumbs up on the chart. I've got a 9-point checklist. I didn't give it a thumbs up on the chart. So the RSI is overcooked. Let it calm down. And normally I said, what you want to look for is the RSI going from 50 towards 60. And that's when it's building up momentum. And sometimes it takes to get above 70, which is overbought, before it really gets moving. I wouldn't buy stocks above that level. Here's the time to get in. If you've done research in the company, generally, fundamentally it's fine. You're happy with it. Generally, around about this level, 50, where we're on now, 48, 50 to 60 is when it starts to warm up. So the chart is looking very interesting on Brandshield. I like that a lot. And like I said,
and
again,
when you combine that with
never jump in on
like the couple of updates they've released recently, which are, like I say, pretty positive, and there's some very good news. You combine that with the chart, it all seems to start to stack up, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But the growth is from a low level. Listen, I mean, $3 million in revenue is not a lot for a company. What's the market cap on this now?
IPO'd in when, October?
Yeah, October, yes. But it's Brandshield is looking good. Very hot sector. Like I said, we're all living online. Scams. How does Daniel manage to do that? Someone's drawn on that. How did he do that? That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Can we draw on your graph then? Can we?
Can you? There's obviously someone on here is a Zoom expert, and they figured out how to access. How do they do that? It's a whiteboard.
They're annotated.
Oh, remote control. Is that it?
Yeah.
I can give it to that. No,
hello.
It's Hassan.
This is good. Graffiti.
Yeah. Will you stop doing that? How do you do it, mate? I wonder how I can get
You stop doing it, and then you ask now he's doing it.
How you doing it, Hassan?
Yeah. I was just wearing different tickets now. That's good.
Yeah. No, okay, stop share. Get that off there. Right, that's the way I stop it. I've got to figure that. See, there's always some Zoom experts in here. I have no idea about it. Basically, when I do a Zoom call, it's just chat, and that's it.
This will be like the Hanforth council meeting before long.
It will the handful. I know. Yeah, exactly. But
standing orders.
Yeah, he's kicked Hassan off. Hassan was messing around the board. Yeah, exactly. He just kicked Hassan off. Hassan, I will boot you off. Yeah, I'm just going to look at more chart. I don't get rid of that. Oh, hang on. So it's not on there. It's on the screen. That's clever, isn't it, Peter? I want Peter or Steve, you to be, expert at this. I don't know what's going on there, but sorry, Daniel's Daniel's iPad.
Thanks.
It was Daniel. Let's find Daniel. Hassan's laughing. Yeah, Hassan is there. Where's Daniel? Is it Dan? Who's it? Dan. Anyway, yeah. So that's what's it called? That's confused me there. That's Brandshield, and Any other?
Do you use RSI as an indicator to sell as well as buy?
Well, listen, that's a good thing. It depends, isn't it? If you are, listen, this investment club is all about finding companies, like I said, that will not pop and drop. A couple of years back, when you start off and you start with a smaller pot, you may need to trade a bit, but you can still reduce the risk of trading by making sure the companies you're trading have cash, for example, the share price hasn't popped, and hopefully there's news coming up that will make that share price pop, But I'm not into that anymore. I want long-term, sort of multi-value sort of generational companies that are growing revenue. And that means they are generating cash. That means they won't have to go to the market and they won't have to delete shareholders and issue more shares, because that's the issue. So when you're looking at an RSI, you should never really, if it's a multi-year investment, then I wouldn't sell. Sometimes, in fact, that's probably a good excuse to a drop opportunity. It comes back. That's Pete's trademark, drop opportunity. So if you're an investor, long-term investor, you this is why you scale in. You scale in. Say, so when you put some money in originally, and then the share price goes up, you say, "Oh, I didn't put all my money into that. Enough money in yet." Don't worry, it'll come back. And then you pretty much that bit that's gone up. You've de-risked that pretty much because you're sitting on a nice little profit. You're not in loss. So it's fine. Let it come back. Take your time. Scale in always. So. my answer to that would be, depends on the company, but if it's a good company, I see, returns coming to me from it for years, then no, I wouldn't sell on that. If you're a trader, maybe there's a whole different set of rules for trading, but do you know what? I always say about this, go on any stock market, any trading platform. In fact, the biggest one is IG Index. And they'll say, I won't do it now, but they'll say right there and then, something like, it varies from spread better to spread better, but it says 70 to 75% of people who trade lose money. Now, just let that odd stick in your head, the odds of that. Now, 3/4 of people who spread bet and trade lose money. So do you want to actually deal with that kind of stat? There's no point. It's odds. The odds are on, you will lose money. Odds against you making money, pretty much. So, with investing, as long as you're buying a good company, time's on your side. With trading, it's not generally. You have to jump in and out, and you miss big things. There are people who are good traders, and they'll teach you how to trade. But it's not for me. I like business. Do you like businesses? I like, people working in businesses that are doing well.
Yes.
There's demand for the product, and you like it, and it's doing well. For example, if you look at Gfinity, I love what John has done there. For years, I looked at Gfinity, and I thought, I like the space they're in. They've got a good brand. They're at the forefront of esports in Britain when no one else is doing it. But yet they're burning loads of cash. And they have to keep going out in the market all the time. And it was flagged up to me by a broker, said, they've raised some money, can you have a look at them? And I said, yeah, but I'm not going to mention the name of the broker. I said, but they're just burning cash all the time. Every year they're burning cash. And then John came on board and said, right, we're going to make this profitable. We're going to cut overheads really, drastically, bring it down. And he did it. And I love the way he's doing it. And now he's found other revenue streams. He's streamlined the business. I just love that aspects of small businesses doing very well, a good management, turn them around. To me, that's more interesting than just trading a chart. There's more of a story there. Life is about stories, isn't it? Yeah, Gfin is starting to look good again. I'm scared of back in the chart now, just in case someone starts decorating it.
I'm asking, where's Paddy? We're not allowed to talk about that, apparently.
Paddy's been arrested for indecent exposure. And on Zoom calls, generally, whenever we hook up with Paddy, video-wise, he's bare-topped. Yeah. He's bare-topped. So then, why on earth are you bare-topped?
Oh, is that why? So you said, no, we're not having you on the Zoom.
I said, you've been on holiday with Paddy, haven't you, Justin? Does he tend to just walk around topless when you're on holiday with him?
Well, yes, in a warm climate, Steve. That's fine in a warm climate. When you're in Croydon in January, there's no reason to be bare-topped. In fact, he's got a stab-proof vest, which he puts on now and again. He does. He's a bare-topped or stab-proof vest. I mean, that's Croydon view, yeah? But, I know. So, no. Paddy is doing something.
Tan lines with that stab vest.
I know. Paddy's, in fact, let me look at this chart, then the Gfin chart. Let's look at it. Okay. So this is setting watch this up like this is worth doing. So you can check your own watch list owned, and there's other ones there, Gfin, and you can set many watch lists on TradingView. So yeah, look at that. So it can be quite volatile, up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you look at this trend line, the trend line is good. I mean, you've got the 200-day moving average moving up here. Whenever that's all the moving averages in the right direction. This is 200-day. That's 125. That's 50. That's 20-day. They're all in the right direction. And it bounces off. It's 125, bounces up, comes back, and it's generally looking good. Now the RSI, you see, this is very telling, and it follows the strength of this is weakening, and it comes down. But where will it settle with? If you look at that line here, pretty much you can see the trend line across there, and it should see some support around here, and it'll grind up again. It'll take a while to break this six pence. But it's the same with 4.5. 4.5 was a sticking point. You couldn't do it a couple of times. It hit it there, come around. RSI is coming down, it's coming down, building up, and then all of a sudden pop through the 4.5 there. See that? Boom, good bit of strength there. Good day up there. It's come back again, and it'll pretty much form the same pattern as here. And you can measure these patterns. It takes about 2 or 3 months to break again up above that next level, but it'll do it. Now it's up to you. Do you want to try and trade that, or do you want to sit there? This is good business. It's improving. I'll hold on to it. It's a good investment. So you try and trade that.
Are you saying then around the 5p level becomes a support level, and that's where it then...
4.5, yeah, 4.5, 5p. 4.5 last time was the issue there, the resistance. See, even they tried it quite a few times. So you can jump around different stocks all day if you want to try and trade things, but you may miss the pop. And Now, I'd prefer just sit in a company that's improving. And because this is it's an esports company, now going to be profitable. It's growing. It's starting off its journey. And I genuinely think you hold on to this couple of years, it'll be one of those ones where I thought, I wish I hadn't traded that or sold at the wrong time.
Yeah, I prefer to sell it at a loss than miss out on a 40 bagger. Exactly. That's my tactic.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. You should have a book, The Biggest Stocks I Missed Out On. Imagine that. These are all the stocks I've missed out on. I've lost loads of money. I could have been very wealthy. That's the book. This is how rich I could have been. And it's a book of all the stocks. But that's lessons learned,
Yep.
And like I said, I'll be with the website there. I'll be uploading some lessons. I'm going to repolish some of those lessons and go through them again because I've always evolving. That's why I love about stocks and shares. You're always learning. You're learning all the time, and it's a constant journey of thing. And okay, let's. We can do charts and all that stuff. Anything on the weekly things would just basically, it'll be all whatever people want to do, and we'll look through everything. So I just want to, so this is some notes here, stop screen sharing them as well. Okay. One other thing, one of the companies didn't mention, it talked about, which is quite nice. Who's outside? That's nice. Who's outside there on the phone?
Mr. iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone, isn't it? That's nice outside there. I haven't mentioned, I've got to mention every week, of course, Escape Hunt.
Of course.
It's part of the contract.
Contract, isn't it?
Yeah. But this week, I interviewed, for the first time, Richard, CEO. Nice guy, very sharp, very clever guy. And they're having meetings in the US. And he was telling me about the franchises in America and how they set it up. There's no one in the waiting room, is there? Make sure there's not.
Well, half an hour in, they'll be pretty pissed off by now.
Yeah. So that's like dentists. I go there, literally. You wait for like half an hour. You go, hang on, I've got to go somewhere. And if you leave, say, I can't hang on any longer, they'll charge you for it. Hang on, I said, you're the one who's late. Anyway, will VRS ever recover? Listen, I don't know. I say I did very well at the start. Again, it's a lesson about getting in early. Always getting early, And I did a 10-bagger on Vasarian because I got in early and the hype was strong. But this is the difference between a stock. What you want to get in on is a stock that's early and just about to hit that inflection point of generating real value, which is cash. Not perceived value in the future, real value. That is sustainable. You want a sustainable rise. At the moment, Vasarian is still not earning money. They will have to. They've got that funding facility, of course, which is dilutive. It could do very well, of course, because graphene is the applications for graphene is massive, and of course, each company is different. And I think, of course, there's potential. Again, why don't you ever buy back into great companies to exit like Open Orphan? Because I suppose, I was silly with Open Orphan. I think it was dumping it dash for cash, wasn't it? I literally had a bit of a wobble. I thought I need to get cash. This is selling off. I was pretty much 40% in cash anyway before that happened. So I was really bearish anyway, and I kept saying that. And you can tell people are bearish on Twitter. They talk about they're really bearish, and I was at the time very bearish, and it annoys people who hold stocks because they stop being so bearish. You can tell you're in cash. And I was a lot in cash because but looking back in it, I would have been 80% in cash if but then when that happened, I sold Open Orphan. I didn't know I should have trusted Kyle. Kyle's a very sharp man, and when you've got a management like Kyle, who's very clever when he speaks to you, and very clever CEOs come into. I speak to a lot of CEOs, right? Some of them can tell a good tale, can sell you very well, and then there's nothing behind it. And you think, oh, okay, my father owns a car sales, like you said. He said, some of the best salesmen I've ever had, slight liars. They lie a bit, and they're very good. Now, Kyle's not like that. He's a good salesman, and he's a very good businessman. He's very sharp and very clever. And I speak to him beforehand. And I look at the vaccine figures all the time. I'm a bit of a geek for the figures, but he will tell me about them, and he'll tell me stuff, and he'll teach me stuff, and he's a very clever guy. And so one of the biggest mistakes I ever did was getting out of Open Orphan. Because I think they're going to, but again, now they're at the sides where they're 200 million market cap. That's pretty double, where my filter is. I want to look at companies below 100 million, hopefully less than that.
But that's an interesting point. So I got out of them much later than you, up in the mid-20s. So I'm not, not bragging here. I did much better than you out of there. But I took the view that, how much more could that go? And is my money better used elsewhere, picking up opportunities that are yet to do that rise? But equally, there's an argument for just sit and hold open orphan for years to come, because it could continually rise, and there's a safe, decent investment potentially.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one to know the answer to.
I know the more I've looked at companies, the more if you're doing a lot of research in a company, not to the point where you become deluded with the company, because that's different. You can do that. Don't fall in love with the stock. The story can change. I got a lot of flack about BidStack because I changed my mind when they changed their revenue targets, and I jumped out, and I was super enthusiastic, too enthusiastic, and I shouldn't have been that enthusiastic because I love the tech. And then I got blamed for ramping it, and I said, well, listen, I will just. James is he's good at expressing his vision. And I bought into it completely. But then they came to the market with expectations of 5.6 million, and they missed that, tremendously well. I mean, they did about 35 grand, I think. How can you come to the market with a revenue expectation of close to 6 million and then hit 35 grand? I don't understand. So something's not right there, and the tech wasn't right. And then they said this year they're going to exceed those revenue expectations, but those revenue expectations are now 1.5 million. So that's a quarter of the initial year's expectations. So, okay, it's not as high growth a stock as we thought, and that's what it's all about, growth. So you've got to change your mind when the story changes. But like I said, going back to that, more and more, I think, if you've done your research in a company and the story is as it is and it's going to plan, stick with it. Don't get impatient and just jump out, because I said one of the biggest lessons I've learned is I'm impatient. Right? I keep jumping out.
Yeah.
Stick with it, always.
There are a few questions about Polarean in the chat.
Yeah, Polarian's one. It's one of the things, right? It doesn't fit my filter on the earnings. In fact, it does. When it gets to commercialization, it'll start generating cash. But the potential, I think, there is huge, and it's quite easy to get out because the share price has been bound, in a trading range for ages. Yeah. It's quite easy to get out. But when you have a potential there, and I'm not talking Polarean, the sales at, I did some calculations, and less than 1% of the global market. Now, 1% is big, of course. I know it is. I know it's big. But less than 1% of the global market. This is a new tech that all companies would need. It's more efficient than MRI scans. It's better. It doesn't, there's no tech out there. The comparative tech is 40 years old. It's bad for you. It's radioactive. It's not as accurate, and so to me, it's a no-brainer why hospitals, especially now with COVID, so many issues with COVID, lung problems. Yeah. Less than 1% of the market, and they're a multi-billion-pound company, and why wouldn't you hold on? It's got phase 3 trials done. All it needs now is FDA clearance. That's pretty much nailed on. It's just, can you wait? I was looking today that the share price in Polarean started rising 6 months before the phase 3 approval. 6 months before. So October the 5th is when they'll get FDA approval. Assuming they will get FDA approval. Yeah. What are we now, 8 months out?
Yeah.
So rather than be a bit patient, sit in there, do some investment. I mean, I would put the proviso, I've no idea. Do they need to raise cash? I don't know. But do you know what? The backers they have, it's not going to be like a resource stock raise or it's not going to be like a 40% discount raise. They've got their backers are big. It's a Braca, the company, one of the biggest backers they have, backed the chairman's last vehicle, which sold for 450 million. And that hasn't got as much, and Polarean's got more potential in the last company. So you can see, the same backers in this and that. So yes, Polarean. I'm thinking.
I mean, the price could drift, couldn't it, in the next few months because we're waiting for that FDA thing. But that's where patience kicks in.
Yeah. Zoetic, I generally don't want to talk about companies I don't hold. Zoetic. I mean, John Story's a very sharp investor. He was in that early on, accumulating a lot. So the only thing is, I'm thinking of now, they got amazing distribution contracts, and it could be huge. I don't know when that will come though, by the sounds of it. But they're already 130 million market cap, and so sooner or later, when sales start to come through, people will look at sales and look at their market cap, and you've got to think, will it affect the valuation already? Because some of that is already priced in. I'm not saying they won't go a lot higher, of course, but of course a lot of that potential, some of it, I don't know how much of it is priced in. I don't know how much. Again, it's a bit too big for me. I didn't get in the right time. The fast, easy money has been made there, and I don't say it's been made. It can be a multi-bagger still, but the fast, easy money, like I said, going from a small cap. I had the guy on the podcast when he was like, I thought CBD is a very hot market. I know there's lots of players in the market. I didn't know it very well. It's going to blow up that area. It's medicinal as well. I thought, should I get in? And I didn't get in, and I should have got in. And so, there's always opportunities out there. Always. Anyway, sorry, talking about the US, Richard, back to this given. Talking about the US, and he was saying that the US is set up for franchisees better than we are, apparently. He said banks loan on a bigger leverage so people can get franchisees is looked on more favourably in the US than over here. And he said we could sign up quite a lot in a short space of time, and it could be quite material to our revenue. We wouldn't have to do a lot, pretty much, and it would help us. So that's what I like. There's lots of things in escapement that's not, and people don't see. I think it's like there's the sites they see, they're locked down. Okay, there's digital, there's play at home, there's franchisees. So and they're expanding very quickly. Okay, there's one there about the stock. I should mention. So let's just go through the films, TV recommendations, and we'll say goodbye to the podcast, and then we'll do stock chats, and we'll bring you off mute if you want, and or if you want to come off mute, it's up to you. You ask questions in chat. But Steve, TV, you mentioned that, didn't you? What's it called? Devils, yeah. I think I'm about episode 5 or 6, and really good storyline actually. I think originally I started watching it because it was sold to me as not a different kind of Billions. It's nothing like Billions, but it's obviously based around the banking and investing to an extent. But I gotta say, I did watch the first 10 minutes. I watched the first 10 minutes last night, and with a China Thai curry from around the corner. I'd recommend the Thai curry house from the corner from us. Lovely, honestly, absolutely. Anyway, but I watched the first 10 minutes, really liked it. And I thought, okay, and then but the missus got tired. I'm tired on the bed. So okay, so we tend to watch stuff together. But I'd recommend that. Also, I'd recommend, and this is I think it's quite old. I'd recommend is Manhunt. I love real things, because I can go back and check it on Wikipedia. The Manhunt Unabomber.
Yes,
that was brilliant, wasn't it? The guy.
I'm watching that now. Yeah.
High IQ guy. It's a real story about him. How many people did he kill in the end? I don't know. But he just put these letter bombs.
Can I just say though, what is the trend with the format of these shows where they jump forward and back in the timeline? It's like I hate that. That did my head in because because you heard about right.
000 I recommend it does that, but it does it really well actually.
Yeah, because what I got on my nerves is that they got him, and he sort of got off. I won't give it away, and then all of a sudden they're trying to find someone, and I thought it was a different person, and they found him. Then did they have that guy? Well, guy very similar looking to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Caught him. Yeah, and but I recommend that. Yeah, and Icarus is a good one as well. Icarus about cycling, drugs, doping, and cycling. That's amazing. That.
It's recommended The Fall on Netflix. Actually, that is one I kind of want to get into. Actually, I saw a couple of people have recommended that to me.
I started watching Lupin, and it was out of sync. And I thought, is this? I don't know where. I came across a bit cheesy to me. It started off well. The most. I don't know if they're French and they've dubbed it, but it got through me a bit. But Lupin's about sort of bank robbers or robbing thing. Anything else, guys? Anything else? No?
You're quite easily confused.
Yeah, very easily confused. Yes. Anything else you want to chat about on the podcast before we go to the Share Pickers Investment Club? Zoom meeting? No? Any other questions? Yeah, French. Oh, Thomas Gomez. French.
One thing I've noticed having a Zoom meeting is that Steve's quite frustrated because he can't go and clean the toilet and do all the usual things he does on the podcast because he's on camera. So he's just sat there.
To be fair, I usually do it in bed with my literally under the quilt. So
now
I've actually got changed and had to shower for it as well. So
now he's got his questionable massage parlor light on.
Yeah,
he's got his filter on his camera, which is blurred around the edges.
It's not a filter. It's actually my camera. That is.
And he's wearing a roll neck or something. This is like a profile picture. Yeah. Hi guys. If you want to know about studio production, I'm the guy for you.
Select porn filter.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Marvelous stuff. Well, let's say goodbye to the podcast, guys. We'll go later. And then now we're in to the Share Pickers Investment Club.
Bye, podcast people.
Bye. Thank you very much. Join the club, and you can see Steve in his massage parlor with his porn filter. You could see that live. Live and direct.
The Weekend Podcast on Vox Markets with Justin, Peter and Steve. Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy anything based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.